Hey guys, it's Yesenia and I'm back with another video. So for today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to let people down and how to be a bad person. I'm totally kidding. That's not what I'm going to be doing today. Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to practice saying no, and I'm going to be teaching you guys how not to be a people pleaser. The reason why I said earlier that I was going to teach you how to be a bad person and how to let people down is because a lot of people have the misconception that saying no means something negative and that you're not being nice and that you're disappointing people. That is completely not true. I'm going to be teaching you guys a couple different ways on how you can say no and how you can get over the guilt of having to say no. So the first part is for you to realize that you have options. You have the ability to say no when someone invites you somewhere or when someone asks you to do a favor. You have the ability to say no, and that it's important for you to realize that saying no does not mean that you're a bad person or that you are letting others down. It's okay to say no. The second thing to do is that realize that you have certain priorities, certain goals, and certain things that you're trying to achieve. And so when someone asks you, do you want to do this and this with me? Or can you go and do this and this with me? If those this and this things don't match up with what you're trying to achieve, then simply say no. Do not try to find a way for it to make sense for you to help someone else if it just does not align with what you're trying to achieve. So do yourself a favor and just say no. So the next step is stalling. So let's say someone invites you somewhere or someone asks you to do them a favor, but you don't know if that aligns with your goals. So you need some time to think about whether you're gonna say yes or no. So this is the stalling technique. There are two different ways that you can stall. One of them is saying the not no, but the not yes either method. And the other one is the ask me later method. So the not no and the not yes method is when you say, thank you, but let me think about it and I'll get back to you. Simple. It gives you the opportunity to go back and to think about whether or not you want to commit yourself to a schedule, an activity, or something to do. The second method is the ask me later method. So this method is basically you say, thank you, but I am not available until next week, next month, in 2 days. Get back to me then. So these two methods are a way for you to stall. And once you've achieved that, you have to think about, why do I want to do this? Or why should I not do this? What things do I have to compromise in order for me to try to squeeze this new thing into my plate? Or do I even want to do this? So now that you've stalled and you've thought about whether or not you want to do it, three things are gonna come up. Either yes, you want to say yes to this person, or maybe you want to say yes, but you don't want to say yes to everything. Or the last one, which is no. So if you want to say yes, just go ahead and say yes. If you want to say yes, but you don't feel comfortable doing everything, this is where the next technique comes in, and that's the setting boundaries technique. The setting boundaries technique is a middle ground where you're able to say yes because you want to do it, but you also don't want to do everything. And all you have to say is, let me tell you what I can do, da-da-da-da, and then you list what you can do. That way you're not overcommitting yourself to something and then you're just gonna feel horrible because you overcommitted, and you're not gonna feel horrible because you didn't commit at all. So you are doing what you want to and just telling them, I'm available to do this, this, and this. So what if you've stalled and you've thought about it and you realize that you don't want to say yes, or you don't want to say partially yes, you want to say no. So I'm going to give you guys 4 different ways that you can say no, and I'm also going to show you guys how to not feel guilty about saying no. I do want to include that when you say no to someone, don't give them an explanation or don't go too into detail, because then that gives them a lot of wiggle room for them to kind of try to convince you. So when you've decided that you want to say no, just keep it short and sweet. No. So the first way that you can say no is the vague but effective way to say no. And you don't have to provide any explanation. All you have to say is, thank you, but that's not going to work with me. And that's it. The second one is for everyone who uses the excuse of being rude, and instead of just saying things how they are in a nice way, or I'm not rude, I'm just blunt, and they say whatever they want to say. But there's a way that you can say no and also say what's on your mind without having to offend people. And this is the gracious way of saying no. So you can say, thank you for your support, or thank you for considering me, but it's not going to work out for me, or I'm not interested in doing this, but thank you. You can also say, I really appreciate you asking me, but I've already committed my time. That's all you have to do. You don't have to be rude. The third way is for those of you who just have way too much guilt when you guys say no. And in order for you to feel less guilty, this is a way for you to kind of blame someone else for your inability to commit. And this is the blame it on someone else way. So basically, all you have to say is, sorry, but I promised my mentor, but I promised my friend, my family member, my significant other that I will not take on any more projects because I'm working on creating a more balanced life. That's a very good explanation, and you don't have to provide much reason for it. And I think a lot of people will respect someone who's trying to work on their life balance. So this is for the individuals who have so much guilt whenever they say no. And I know that it sounds kind of funny, like, who has trouble saying no? I say no every day. No, 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 no. But if you pay attention, there are a lot of people who try to please everyone, who try to meet everyone's needs, and they have good intentions, but sooner or later they realize that if they keep doing this, they feel burnt out, they feel unhappy, they feel disconnected within themselves, and ultimately, in an effort to try to not let other people down, you let yourself down. So if you're one of those people, you can use this method where you blame someone else. And I do recommend that you kind of adjust it and eventually you blame yourself, but you also take responsibility. And you could do that using this method. And by this, I mean that instead of saying, I promised my, and then you say whatever third party, you say, I promised myself that I will not take on additional projects. I am working on creating a more balanced life. And that way you realize that you're doing this for yourself and you get more comfortable with saying no, and you get rid of that guilty feeling with saying no, because you can say no if you want to. You really don't owe anybody anything. The last method is the just say no. Super simple. Say no, thank you. That's it. You don't have to give any explanation. Just say it. And that's it, and walk away or keep doing whatever you're doing. Whatever method you decide to say no, you have to kind of adjust it to who you're saying no to and to what type of situation you're in. So there you guys have it. Those are 4 different ways that you can say no. And now I'm gonna give you some little tips and tricks that you can use in order to not feel guilty once you've said no. It's very important that you focus on the things that happen as a result of you saying no to someone. So you can think, well, now that I said no to this, I have more time to do another activity which I'm happy with, or now I have more time to spend time with myself, or, you know, just think of what the good things are as a result of you saying no. Don't think of the bad things that happen as a result of you saying no. Don't think like, oh, well, I said no to them, like, what are they gonna do now? Or they're gonna need my help, or they're gonna da 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 da. Don't do that. Think about how you don't feel guilty or how you don't regret saying yes to something because you did not want to do it. Now you can think about how good and how healthy it is for people to say no. Chances are that person is still gonna be okay and is gonna figure out whatever they need to in order to meet their needs, even though you said no. I do recommend, and this is gonna sound kind of silly, but I recommend that you get a friend and that you practice saying no. If you don't have a friend available or you feel too shy to ask a friend to do this with you, then just look in the mirror and say no, and come up with different scenarios and practice saying no so you can normalize the feeling of saying no. But if you do have a friend who's willing to do it, then I suggest you get a friend like my friend Stephanie. Stephanie is studying to be a lawyer, so she feels extremely comfortable saying no. She says things how they are, and she does it in a professional, respectful way, and that's something that I really admire about her. So get a Stephanie in your life and basically tell them to ask you to go out with them. Ask them to ask you to do things with them, and you will practice saying no, and it'll be a funny thing, but you'll realize just how much pressure is lifted off of you when you realize that you don't have to please everybody, and you realize how good that feels. So I hope you guys learned a thing or two about saying no and how good it is to say no without having to feel guilty about it. If you have children or nieces or nephews or younger siblings or even older adults who have learned this unhealthy trait, teach them how to say no and teach them how normal it is. And it's very good to implement these things into younger children because they grow up knowing that they have options to say yes or no and they don't feel obligated. And I know, like I said, it sounds extremely funny, but there's a lot of people who struggle with trying to please everyone, and chances are you probably know someone in your life who's a people pleaser, and it's just very exhausting trying to please everybody. There's so many people, and if you're trying to please everyone, you have to accommodate for what they think is right or how they want certain things to be done. So just stop doing that and think about what you want and try to please yourself. And again, focus on things that align with what you're trying to accomplish, and that way you can do things and it'll be pleasurable for you and for that person who you're helping. If you guys like this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up, comment, like, share it with whoever you want. And again, please stay safe, practice saying no, and until next time, bye guys.